A lot has changed from the way Ward farms used to farm. In the 1980s, Ward farms used to first plow the ground with the Hess Plow that you can see here. The plow would loosen up the ground and kill the weeds and any other volunteer growth. When a field was done plowing, this was easier to move to different fields because the harrows were attached to the plows and it would fold up using hydraulics for easy transportation. After the ground was plowed, they would fertilize with the fertilizer rig that you can see here. They fertilized with Anhydrous Ammonia, a nitrogen-rich compound used to enhance soil fertility. It is a gas at room temperature and has to be stored under pressure. This is the large storage tank they used. A nurse truck was then used to transport it into the field to fill the fertilizer applicator. When they fertilized, they also pulled harrows on the back of the rig to help level the ground before planting. Harrows have several teeth or tines that break up the ground, so you wouldn't be able to drive them on the roads. It was a lot of work to move the rig from field to field because the harrows had to be removed. They would unhook each harrow one by one and load them onto a trailer by hand. Then the fertilizer rig could fold up like this. Once they moved to the next field, they would then unload them and hook them all back up. It was very tedious. Next, they would get ready to plant. They would first fill an old Chevy 2-ton dump truck with seed. This truck had a hydraulic auger attached to the back so that you could then fill the drill boxes you see here. Next, the fields were planted with a drill. They used 4 International's 150 Hoe Drills that were pulled with a Steiger ST310. The drill had press wheels on the back that would compact the loose dirt over the seed. These wheels had to be raised off the ground before moving the drill to another field because they did not swivel. First, they would raise the hitch straight up into the air and chain it. Then they would jack up the back of each drill and install 2 tires on each drill on these frames so that the drill could be pulled sideways. These tires were placed on a trailer and transported when ready to install. Lastly, a Melroe spray coupe was used to spray for weeds. After that, the ground that is in crop is done until harvest time. In order to keep up with all the tasks, my great-grandpa Elmer and my grandpa Darrell would take turns driving the plow and fertilizer rig, and great-uncle Vance would follow with the drill. They would take shifts like this, where Elmer would start at 6 a.m. and Darrell would end his last shift at 1 a.m. Sometimes he would have to stay out later if Vance was catching up with the drill. While Vance was drilling, Elmer and Darrell would fill the seed truck and fertilizer truck and other tasks that needed to be done to keep everything running when they were on the tractor. Summer fallow is land that is left unplanted for the season to allow its soil to conserve moisture and conserve nutrients. In May, it was first plowed, then weeded with the implement that you see here to firm the ground up to conserve moisture. Depending on the year, it was weeded at least 2 more times. The ground was then fertilized with the Anhydrous Ammonia, then planted in the fall. In summary, back in the 80s, they would plow, fertilizer, drill, spray weeds, then harvest. Nowadays they use the John Deere R4045 sprayer instead of the plow. The fertilizer rig and the weeder, this is because they have switched to regenerative farming practice where they no longer plow. This is also known as a no-till method. There are many benefits to a no-till method, the main one being a great reduction in ground erosion. This is because the ground is not being loosened up and eroding away after rain or snow melt off. Check out my other videos about filling in the ditches to see some effects of the water erosions. I'll drop a link in the description. We will discuss the extra passes the sprayer does because of the no-till method in another video.